Hello friends, welcome back to our Software Circle YouTube channel where we are trying to share the different perspective of all the technology which we work and different people from different background, different technology, different company come and share their experience and their sort of expertise on this channel. So my name is Balram Prasad and I am working as a senior software engineer in Microsoft USA, and today I'm going to talk about virtual machine. So virtual machine is a file or is a or is we typically call as image which behaves like an actual computer, and under the hood it help us to share our whatever physical hardware is there. We share with different people and try to utilize the best of that hardwares, right? So we can have a different operating system over there, and there are different type of application we need to use for doing this virtualization and using the virtual machine, right? It is similar, behaves similar as a computer software, but when we go ahead and buy some laptop or some desktop or some server, we buy a physical machine and we install many operating system over there and we work. But in this one there are generally bigger chunk of machines where the big hardwares are installed, and on the top of some kind of virtualization layer or virtualization systems runs, and then we share this with the different multiple people, and then that is how that virtualization happens, right? So the term virtualization is most of the things that does it, that it try to creates the virtual system upon on the top of physical system, right? Physical hardware such as CPU and storage device, network and other things. And this platform, whatever software you use for virtualization, that will share these resources with different people and handle all these sharing related things over there. And there are different platform for that one. Hardware virtualization is there, right, where we are going to see that when you are going to create the virtual machine where we are going to use that one. And there are software virtualization is also came, so that we can see the later, but right now we are talking about mostly that hardware related virtualization, where we will there are some hardware and there are multiple people will access and think that it will behave for them, that if you have a 512 GB of RAM of a server where you can create multiple people with 8 GB of RAM and they can use that one. So we can see that one. And there are typically, if you go and try to see that one, that virtualization related platform or services, then you will find that VMware has some software for that one, some platform for that one. Oracle also provides Hyper-V for that one. VirtualBox for that one, and Microsoft provide Hyper-V. And there are some software and platforms comes from Red Hat also. So there are different companies provide different kind of virtualization software and platform used for that. And when we talk about cloud, they are using this technology heavily on their data center. So in cloud, they have created a different company which provide the cloud computing services. They have created huge chunk of data center on different parts, different region, different in different geography of world, where they have data center and some kind of virtualization software they run, and they using this virtualization platform they are providing the services. So I'm going to create this virtual machine on Microsoft Azure, and Microsoft Azure is a cloud computing services provided by Microsoft. So if we go ahead and see that one and try to find that one in Azure also, there are layers on the Windows Server machines, which is using a customized version of Hyper-V, and that is known as Microsoft Azure Hypervisor. So that is not plain Hyper-V which comes into my market, but that is customized for cloud. But it is also a, basically hypervisor and a this platform and solution for doing virtualization. And this is the backbone of that one. And then on the top of, they use Azure Service Fabric Control for doing all this scaling and reliability related thing. But basically, the I was talking about hypervisor and virtualization. They are using this also, Hyper-V as that one. So if you want to go and use that virtual machine and create and do the practice of that one, what I will say that go ahead, and depending upon which country you are right now, you can go and see that Azure provides a free account where just you have to provide your basic details in any of the card uh, for your validity identity verification. They will not charge unless you will ask do so. And they will provide in US right now, they are providing $200 credit for doing that testing and exploring Azure for 30 days, or they are also providing 12-month of popular free services, and there are 20 plus always free services they provide, so we can go and do that one, right? And then also, if somehow if you are using the Visual Studio subscription, and you have if you have a Visual Studio subscription, you will get some free credit into that subscription also. You can utilize that one, check your subscription. If you are using that one, you can do that one also. Let's go. So when we talk about virtualization and virtual machine, you have an option to select the operating system when you create that one. Either you want to go for Windows OS or Linux or iOS, depending upon your need. But why do we need virtual machine? The very first place, right? What is the use case, or what is the scenario that place we can leverage the virtual machine? Because if I, as a developer, if I'm going to write some application, I will try to write as a new technology, and I will go ahead in that fashion where I do not have to maintain this virtual machine and other thing. But there are different scenario where you can leverage this one and you can use that one. In if you want to test and develop something quickly, and you need some kind of machine for that one, and so that in that scenario you can set up your development environment in this virtual machine on Azure or any of the cloud provider. You can do that one with a specific configuration. You can install some software which is needed, and if you do not want to install, or your machine, or maybe your machine has less capacity than that requirement of that software, you can do that one here. Or if as a developer, if you are running some application and you want to lift shift on that one in cloud, and you want to decommission your existing physical servers, right, then you can also lift shift without doing much changes. You can spin up virtual machine, you can create a virtual machine, and you can move your application to the cloud. Or if you have an existing data center, right, if your company has existing data center of some machines, but that machine is now not sufficient to handle all the load, then in that case, either there are you can buy new hardwares, and you can extend that data center, or you can move extend your data center using cloud virtual machine, right? And then in you, if you are going with physical data center extension, then you have to buy all the hardware and you have to pay at the very first time itself, and then after use, I don't know what happened to that virtual hardware. But in this case, you are going to create the virtual machine, and you are going to connect with you have an option to connect with your corporate network or your office network, and you can use this one as your normal machines, normal data center machine. And when you do not need, you can decommission that one. That is how you can say, and whatever you use, you are going to pay for that one. So that offers a lot of cost saving benefit, and other things, right? The flexibility also. The what other scenario you can have, right? Suppose you have an application which you are running on SQL Server, which is on-prem SQL Server, which you have license, and moving to Azure SQL, which is a platform as a service, is going to take some time. You do not want to invest that time. You can spin up virtual machine. You can install that SQL Server over there with your a license which you have in on-prem, and then you can move your application into cloud, and you can use that one, right? Or if you have SAP, or you can have Oracle related software, then you can move over there and you can do that one similar thing. Suppose a scenario that you have a need for 416 virtual CPU and 12 TB of memory. And if you want to some run some application using this requirement, if you're going to buy that machine and extend your data center, it is going to take good amount of money at very first side. But you can do this one into Azure or any of the cloud provider. You can spin these virtual machines, you can run your application and terminate that one, so that whatever amount that your application in your virtual machine is running, you are going to pay that cost only. So there are typically a lot of scenario you can handle with that one. Some and when we talk about that one, let's go and see some more scenario maybe. Okay, so you can, as we told, that cost saving by pay as you go, right? Cloud generally is providing pay as you go, so you do not have to invest very first time, you do not have to buy hardware, so that is how you are going to save some cost. So that we can leverage this scenario. Apart from that one, when you are going to create the virtual machines, you will see that virtual machine series, right? So there are a series of machine where you have entry level of VMs for dev test, where you want to create some machines for your developer or testing something, or low traffic web server, a small medium database. Then you can go ahead and use this kind of machines where they are starting with some price, and you can select the RAM and CPU for that one. There are B series of machines where you want to use some similar thing, but B series is economical virtual machine. This is also economical part of from that one, also A series also. So you can see depending upon your scenario that you can use that one. D series is a little bit costlier, where you want to run the application which is enterprise grade application, right? You have a relational database, you want to use for in-memory caching related thing and analytics things. Then you can go and select that D series of machine, which is a little bit costlier than normal ones, where you can get the premium SSD and ultra disk storage options also, and then you can do with ability and other things for that one. And there are a lot of CPUs options and which CPUs options are there, so where you can go and select. And these three virtual machine are based on Intel Xeon processor. So that is how you have to see that one, which is suited for your base scenario, right? If you are dealing with some confidential application, right, and you want to use that, move that to your VM, that confidential application to virtual machine in cloud, then you can see this option, that the DC series, which provides that confidential application, confidential computing on the Azure, where the use case is that if you want to confidential query to database, or some kind of network you want to create at the confidential, or a different kind of things you want to do at the confidential, so that is, they have built in an application encryption capabilities on this machine, so that your data is protected while it is in transit or rest also. So that you can see depending upon your scenario. And there are if you there are different scenario if you want to run that in memory, where you have a good memory related requirement optimized for memory related requirement. Then suppose you have a SAP HANA, and you want to run that one on that one, or some native Weaver application is there, layer is running, so you can use that E series and you can move ahead this all these resources over there, because this is based on Xeon Platinum, this processor. And then there are good options for computer memory optimized things, so you can use that one. Then if you want to do some batch processing gaming related thing, you can have F series. This is compute related optimized virtual machine, so you can use that one. Then G series is there. This is supporting for large SQL and NoSQL database. Suppose you have a application which is using huge SQL based application, and there are too much load over there, so then you can have G series over there. And I have used this G series over there sometime, where our one of the application was requiring 512 GB of RAM, so we were using this one. And then later we decouple that application into microservices based applications, and using Microsoft services technology design, so that we can use this virtual machines. Then if you have some scenario where you are running on high performance compute, right? Like fluid dynamics, right? You are going to running some risk analysis, right? You are designing running some CAD related application, you are rendering something, or you are running some quantum related solution, quantum computation. So that then you can go and run that H series, we say that high performance computing. Different things are there where you want to L series is there, storage optimized, where you want to run NoSQL databases such as Cassandra, MongoDB, or Redis, some kind of this data set. Then you can go and use that L series of data set, LS series. M series, similar, we have seen that one for SAP HANA and other related things, so we can go ahead and use that one. And if you want to run some GPU related application where you need GPU for that one, then you can go ahead for N series, where NVIDIA graphical intensive workload you can move over there and then run. Yeah, and that example use case will be that you want to run some simulation or deep learning experiment or graphics rendering, video editing, you are doing that one, or gaming or remote visualization, you can use this GPU related virtual machine, GPU enabled virtual machine, and you can do that. And then depending upon your see that how much you are going to use, you are going to pay for per month or pay per hour, depending upon region and other thing. You can see that how much cost you are going to pay, so that you can run the some Azure cost calculator and then see and then move that one. So when you run anything into Azure, you need to have a subscription, and you can create a subscription for free also and paid also. And then you have to create a resource group, where all resource group is a collection of all the resources we put into in a resource group, and it is a logical container, right? So we can go ahead and see that one. Okay, I'm going to create this resources and put into resource group, so that I know that if my component is having on this one. So naming convention you can decide based on that one, you can do. So when we create a virtual machine, single virtual machine also, you will need some kind of virtual network. You have to put into virtual network because you want to access from your machine. So, and then in virtual network, if you go in networking world, then in network you have to have subnet also, right? So this is not a physical network, this is a virtual network. So virtual network, virtual subnet, and then your machine will be attached with some network interface card, right? And then there will be some network security group associated with that one, where we put that one which port is open for inbound and outbound and other things, and that is how all associated. Then virtual machine is having some kind of disk, either it is managed disk or local disk, or you can create additional disk also by creating that storage account, which is provided by another service provided by Microsoft Azure, and go ahead and do that one. So depending upon solution, you can go ahead and do that one. You can go ahead and read all these details and see that one. As I talked about high performance computing architecture, that if you want to run that one, some computer aided engineering services on Azure, or computational fluid dynamics solution simulation on Azure, or 3D video rendering on Azure, you can pick that HPC H series of machine and you can run over there. Or if you have some scenario where you want to give some virtual machine to your developer or tester, you can install the custom images such as Visual Studio image, SQL Server image on the virtual machine and give to user, because maybe your developer, you do not want to give the high in machine to your system or laptop or something where they can carry and use from anywhere, so that you can do for that one. There is another service for similar purpose in Azure that we call as Azure Dev Test Lab for developer, where developer can quickly create the virtual machine based on their demand and customize that one for their development. So that service we will look into a little bit later on the another series. So this is what is right now. I was talking about virtual machine. I will go ahead and create a virtual machine, and then I will log into that virtual machine. Then we will end this video. And in next video, I will install IAS server over there, and configure, and then I will install SQL Server over there, so that we can see that if you have some application, you can how you can install this one onto virtual machine. So let me go. So I have Visual Studio subscription account, and I have created a virtual resource group for this one, this purpose. I will go ahead and create a virtual machine, and if you go and create a new one, then you will see that option of popular creation of virtual machine, Ubuntu server or Windows server. And if you also go in compute side of that one, you will see virtual machine scale set, virtual machine as scale set. We will see later Kubernetes function app. So whatever comes under compute, you can see. But we are going to create a basic virtual machine right now. So once we create the virtual machine creation, we have to put some name. So I have put something over there. So let's see. I will put some name over there, like surface circle demo that machine. Our is that region is east to west. I am going to put, and if you see that ability option and ability zone, that is related to redundancy, that how much redundant you want to have, how much VMs you want to create with this one, so that if one VM is patching or another VM should be available, or how you are going to deal with that kind of scenario where patching is running, or you how you are going to update. So when we talk about this virtual machine, I just wanted to tell you that this is offering from infrastructure as a service, where you have responsibility to maintain your updates, Windows update or Linux updates, and maintain patching, you maintain the security. You are responsible for doing all this. So that is what we have to see. So right now I'm going to say that I do not want any infra redundancy, because I am just testing. Now we have to select images. If you go ahead and select the images, which operating system you want to use, or which image, which kind of package you want to use. So basically you can go with Windows Server 2016 data center, Ubuntu, Red Hat, lot of Unix related flavor you can see, and Windows related server related flavor. Also you can see Windows client operating system for Windows 10, or if you go and see the different images, not only Microsoft view and this one, you can see if you are want to run some LAMP certified images, or Selenium WebDriver, or different flavor of images provided by different company, Debian or live speed, whatever you want to, different which kind of you want to do, that you can do. I'm going to use this Windows Server, and Windows Server, let's go into data center, this one, Gen 1, because I want to install IAS over there, and SQL Express later. So I will use that one. And Azure, if you see this option, Azure Spot instance, this is where if you want to use a Azure capacity which is not unused, which is sorry unused Azure capacity at discounted rate, then you can use that one. But there is a catch, that in when Azure will need that capacity, they you have to provide that what is the eviction type. Then might be your virtual machine will go down based on depending upon scenario, that what is the policy that you that time, if Azure will require that capacity on that box, then it will stop or relocate or delete that machine. So I'm not going to do that one right now. And then you can go and see that which kind of sizes you want to use. That size we talked about the series, that in that we selected Windows machine, Windows server, but in Windows service, which kind of hardware or which kind of size we want to use. We can use that D series, which we talked in detail little bit, B series, D series 4, or all the older generation, or in whatever generation you want to use, right? H series for high performance computing, or N series is not available in this this place where I have selected in East to West. If you select different one, you can go ahead and that one. But for I am going to select the D series. I have used that D series before, so let me go with use that one D series. Okay, so I'm going B series D4, where I have 16 GB of RAM, 4 virtual CPU, and 8 data disk, and 32 temp storage, and it is premium disk. So let me use this one. and then I have to provide a username and password. So let me go in this, do this one. Let me provide this one, and this is going to be my password. You can generate the strong password for using any tool, which will generate a strong password for you. And there are a lot of tools there, so you can use that tools. And after that one, you have to provide that one, which port you want to open for public, right? How you are going to connect. So I'm going to right now say that I'm going to connect with RDP. There are options that you can connect with HTTP, open that HTTP, HTTPS, and XSH also for that one. So, and then if you have license in your organization, you can bring that license here, and then you can save some cost, because we are going to eventually we are paying the Windows cost also. So let's go in disk. Right now, whatever basic disk we have selected as a size, we are going to get that one. But if you want to attach more disk, we can get attached right now also, and later also we can attach. And if, as I told you in that one, that it is going to create a virtual network, there is an option that if you have already virtual network created for different purpose, you can attach that one, you can attach subnet. But right now I do not have any virtual network. I am going to create or everything new, so that all options are there. And public IP, so that public IP will be attached with my network card, and so that I can RDP that one. So okay, so this is how details will come, that you want to have enabled boot diagnostic or system managed, assign managed identity. We can see all this detail later. When this machine is going to shut down automatic or not. Then if you want to run some script, when that this is going to install an extension, you want to install some extension on that one, where you want to place depending upon which VM you want to create, Gen 1 and Gen 2. So that all details. And tagging is the way where you put some tag and some label to your machine or your resources, and in the billing you see that one, or for different purpose you use that tag and label to filter that one, that how what is going with that filter. Or maybe some you tag with some software or application or component of that application, and figure out that what is the cost for that component, how much cost it is coming, or how much resources it is going to take. So all this is there. So right now, if you see, I am using Azure Portal for creation of this virtual machine, but not all the time we have this Azure Portal to use that one. Depending upon your scenario, you can download this template, or you can create that ARM template, Azure Resource Manager template, and you can use that one. Or you can use PowerShell scripting for automation of all this. So depending upon scenario, how you are going to do that one, you can do that. Let's say I'm going to create this one, and it takes some time. We can wait for few minutes, and it will come. Then we will connect to that machine, we will RDP into that machine, and then I will stop that video that time, because then next video I will go ahead and install and configure the IAS and SQL Server. Okay, so this resource has been created. I am going to that resource. Let's see. And if you see all this details, I'm going to get this one, that virtual machine names and other details. What are the networking details? What are the public IP and private IP attached to my details? But which virtual network we are using? And then DNS is by default Azure DNS. I can configure the under DNS also, but yeah, this all Azure in spot we have not used all this. And if you know that one, that we can connect this virtual network to our on-prem connected network also, but we are not going to do right now. I just want to go into resource group and see what other resource has been created along with this one. So as I spoke that virtual network will be created, and then virtual machine has been created. IP, public IP has been created, and network security group has been created, and network interface and disk. So disk has whatever disk is associated with this one. So this all the resources have been created. Now let's go ahead in this virtual machine, and I'm going to connect using RDP. So I'm going to this use the RDP, and I'm going to connect. So pop-up has come to my different machine. Bear with me. A pop-up is coming there on my. Let me put details. So yeah, so it is connecting right now. Okay, let's see, it is connecting. So if you see this one, our virtual machine is on and we are able to connect with this one. And let's see with server manager all these details. And let's go and properties. So this is 16 GB of RAM with 2016 server, and it is right now into work group. You can change and put into domain also depending upon your need. So that is all is required, and this is the product ID we got. So we charge on that Microsoft. If you have a product key, you can bring that product key also. So yeah, this is that server, and all these details you can see on that one. So that is what I wanted to share. Thank you very much. Tune in for another video, and ping us and comment us with whatever you want to learn about different technologies, different cloud platform, or different stack of things. So we will try to pull someone from that working on that technology, and we will try to make such videos.